Hello there, beloved Ascension pioneers, and welcome to this video episode, another video on the topic of living in the new. But in truth, this living in the new and our ascending reality is not separate from what we do, what we want to create. Everything is intertwined together. So in this video, I want to focus on the aspect of joy, because a lot of times this simplicity of living through a complete passionate state of our soul, which is all about divine passion and working with energy in order to explore and get to know more of the self and create within that uniqueness of the self and then merge with others. A lot of times we forget about this aspect of joy. And I've been talking to some individuals recently, and it was like this in my own life as well, because a lot of times those Ascension pioneers who really focused on getting the work done and getting things out and really bringing either people together, groups of people, working on some bigger projects. And a lot of times we invest so much of ourselves in these things that sometimes we forget. Sometimes we forget about returning back to the self, to the core. And I remember reading this part in Saint Germain's books. It's when he says that in this self-mastery path, a very important step is to take at least 3 days per month to revitalize our body, to come back to our body, to replenish and also make our body more youthful, because we can't really do the things we so wish to do and create if our body's not flowing. If our body's tired, if we're experiencing fatigue, if we lack that passionate expression, if we kind of lose that sense of joy by working on things that we feel they're bigger than ourselves. A lot of times when we plug into this collective and serving the collective and really live these passionate pursuits by also sharing with others instead of just staying in our vortex, which is the easy part, and then after seeing where this triangulation is taking place, we need to come back to that source of unity, of both sharing and being at the same time, being in our joy. I want to move further by expressing that when I talk to others, sometimes I feel that it's almost like a sense of passion in their life, a sense of that true joy is missing. People who are spiritual, people who are pursuing spiritual things, people who think spirituality is gaining more knowledge and becoming more wise. In truth, a lot of times I see that this crucial life force giving energy, that joy, that, you can see when somebody's radiating joy. It's not something that can be described as what that person is doing. You can feel it in their energy. And I either feel it in a person or not. And a lot of times when we're engaging with people who don't live in joy, a lot of times they even, they condense a lot of that energy, that stagnant energy, and can even be turned to a negative energy. And we can't be around those people for too long, because it's almost like our own sense of joy will be numbed down and depleted. That's why it's so important to have those solitary moments, that silent retreat, being and engaging in our solace, enjoying our solitude, while also sharing with others who will represent these different aspects of us. But what we're moving into in our ascension is moving into these higher aspects of us. So the higher and the lower aspects of us need to merge. Recently I had a session with someone, and that individual, it's almost like they lost somebody in their life, and that somebody represented a huge part of who they are and how they express themselves. And I asked him, what was that main thing that kept your relationship going? What was that main essence that you thought was so magically unique? And she said, well, we had uncontrollable bursts of laughter. And I said, how often do you used to do it when that person's not in your life? And they thought about it. Well, probably never. And because when we condition our existence, our state of joy, through certain conditions, and by receiving that through another and through other people, a lot of times when that person is no longer in our life, or we move on, or we're just not in that space anymore, we will no longer be living that essence. And we think it's connected with another person, and as the person's gone, we'll just be, living our life. And sometimes a lot of people I talk to, they say they kind of close down because they feel they'll never be able to experience such freedom or such joy again. And yet this was an awakening experience, to awaken us to that joy that always lives within us. And imagine yourself really loving something, and that thing partially not being in your reality at this time. Can you still feel joy? Can you still really be joyful for not what you wish to pursue, but passion for life, you know, that breath of life that keeps you going. It keeps you in that movement of the rhythm that is this enjoyment of creation and knowing that you're alive and present and conscious and breathing. How many times when you live your life are you aware of that? You might have glimpses and moments, but you can have every day this experience in this new reality that you're creating for yourself. With each step, there's more opening. When you, ouch, ow, I think an ant bit me right now, or it was just a twig. When you have that experience, when you can really be in that essence all the time, and it's not just partial. It's there because you're actually the source of that experience, and you're the one who's nourishing yourself through that main essence, and it's very important and vital in your life. I don't know what that was. It's a bit tricky. So yeah. Anyway, what I want to say is that a lot of times we, in the beginning of our spiritual journey, will be very excited about things. We'll be very moved, and we'll feel things that we feel, wow, they can be there all the time, and yet sometimes things happen, and maybe people go away. In order, you know, that's all divine perfection here, for us to see how that person is actually just another me, another you, so that we can marry those aspects of ourselves, bring it back to unity, and experience everything that is crucial for our journey. If that is uncontrollable laughter, if that is just sharing beautiful bliss somewhere in nature with someone, experiencing that freedom and sharing it with someone, or that's just creating something. And a lot of times I notice as beings, as humans, we say, okay, I have to go through this challenging part of my life and then I will enjoy. Or I'll work so hard and then one day I'll get, you know, I'll invest this and create a life for myself. Or one day I'll be creative again, but now I need to purge, and now I need to, you know, detoxify, now I need to cleanse and really get rid of what no longer serves me. So a lot of times, because of that, we forget that it's this constant postponing that's keeping us from living that right here and now and being that joy. Because joy is what ascends us, you know, it's the natural state of our soul when she feels the passion for being alive, for witnessing each moment. And to witness yourself and to be neutral is not the same to close up. So what I advise each and every one of you who knows that ascension is also very much coming through our relationships, not just that spiritual hermit isolation that a lot of times is needed, but it's not the only part that's important in our ascension, because it's an intertwining energy, coming together, coming apart, coming together, coming apart, and yet it's all unification. It's always united, unified. And I advise you, if you really feel guided, that when you take up a certain aspect of you that you feel was really important for you, that defines not your personality, but it's how your soul expresses itself through its passion, and you feel maybe that part you no longer live or experience that way anymore. Because remember, our path is not so much how knowledge we have. It's important, yes, to know the basic principles of creation and how energy works, but to know all of it before knowing ourselves, what's the purpose of that? You know, you can't even yet create your own reality. So where we are now as a collective is we need to first become fully aware of how we create the best, most joyful, most juicy life for ourselves, living a juicy life, living a life of complete freedom, of enjoyment, and whatever that is, for everybody will be something different. And when we can activate that presence that we feel maybe it was not there anymore, just call it back. And, you know, when you call those parts back, it's unify with all these aspects that are you. That being, imagine there's a certain being that when you're with them, you feel like the best possible person. That being activates the best in you. There's also people you feel they activate the worst, and this is what I call the higher aspects marrying the lower aspects, becoming this unified energy of our crystalline core, our true divine nature. And all of them are important, but where we're moving in our ascension is sharing it in an uplifting way through joy. So these lower aspects marrying the higher aspects, and this energy becoming presence in the now. So I really advise you to take that moment or two to see what beings in your life really make you feel like your best possible version of you, most giving, most caring, most compassionate, most joyful, playful, you know, and which beings maybe make you feel like not of that, and then see how those aspects can intertwine, see how you can merge them together, where's the gap that needs to be bridged. And when you will be able to see that all these aspects are already not just within you, but they are you, then you will be probably ready to not just witness it, but to then experience it in the fullness. Because joy is ascension, and ascension is joy. You can have so much spiritual knowledge, but being almost like an empty, your core being empty of that prime frequency of joy, just the natural state of your soul, it's not the same. So a lot of times we isolate and we push things aside thinking it's going to be easier, but easier does not mean there will be more joy. So the kind of path we're pursuing in our ascension is the path of our greatest divine potential, where there's most joy, most freedom, most bliss. And that is where really we wish to be. So this is it for today, just a short video reminder, and I hope the ants, or whatever this was, did not get too much in the way. And if so, that was how it was meant to be. As always, so much love, wisdom, and power. Take care, and have beautiful, heartfelt experience around you, because you're the one creating them from inside out. I have a small suggestion. So how about seeing your life, witnessing but also experiencing it like a movie, like it's a movie, like it's a musical. So recently we went to the mountains, and I said, well, lately I've just been singing. I get melodies and I sing, so I feel not just I'm going through life or speaking, but I'm engaging in life in a higher dimensional form. So it's more open, higher senses are activated, and I get to sing. And I remember this one time I was in the mountains, and instead of talking, I began to sing, and everything rhymed, and I was almost like in a musical, and the birds spoke to me, and it was magnificent. It was such attunement, and this is what it is to live in a fifth dimension and beyond. It's not something that is more spiritual, it's just the experience of it is in that nature. So recently we were returning from the mountains, and I said, well, let's sing musicals together, like, you know, instead of talking to each other. And it was so beautiful. It was one of my ultimate favorite moments in life so far. And I advise you, you know, to just start singing, dancing more to life. Sing yourself into a melody, become the movie, see the movie, create the movie that you wish. It is all for you anyway. It is all the gift of life to you. So nothing stops there with one song. I said, well, I'm going to record 12 songs for my Elven CD. Well, guess what? They just keep coming and coming, so it doesn't end. And this is what it is when you live in joy. It's constant creativity. You cannot stop it. You cannot not be this way. People say, well, take a moment to rest. You know, of course, too much fire sometimes can be too much, and it can exhaust you if you don't know how to also work with other elements in combination and unison. But it really is that magical, and you can create it that way. So just a tiny recommendation, and enjoy some of the beautiful mountain view that is coming after.